Hello and welcome to Casual Buddhism. I'm your host, Cindy Rasicot, and I'm here with, of course, Venerable Dhammananda Pikani, who is Thailand's first fully ordained Theravada nun. And it's always such a pleasure to have her here. And if you're new with Casual Buddhism, a former student of Venerable Dhammananda's actually described it really well. I like Manuel's description. He said, casual Buddhism welcomes people from all walks of life to explore their spiritual practice with Venerable Dhammananda. And I thought that was a very good definition. So it's a good description. So hello and welcome.
Yes, and so it is casual, but it is practical, and yes, casual and very practical. For those who practice, I think it's going to be very helpful.
Yes.
It is not talking from the head, it is more talking from the heart.
Sadhu. Yes. And so we've talked a lot about loving kindness in the past. And you talk about how we spread loving kindness to others to go out. When we spread loving kindness to others, it needs to go out unconditionally.
Yes.
Not just for the person you like, but for the person you have a hard time with. And I've heard you say that overcoming hatred or anger actually involves a process of forgiving yourself. But I have to admit, after all these years, I'm not quite sure what that means. So I wonder if you could explain to me, when we have anger come up or when we're focusing on the other person to forgive them, what is it we need to do to forgive ourselves?
We always project ourselves outward. It is easy to project ourselves outward, to see the mistakes that others do and to criticize them, to dislike them, to hate them. But sometimes, when we are truthful to ourselves, we look inward, we will see that we do the same stupid thing also, and when we start like that, how come we are discussing about others? We first have to see that we do the same mistakes, maybe in a different way, So we forgive ourselves. We have to forgive ourselves and allow ourselves to grow. Yeah. So when we have this loving kindness for ourselves, forgiving ourselves, so that we allow ourselves to grow, we also can forgive others and allow them to grow. It goes both ways. It goes both ways. Yes, and for this loving kindness, we all say, Thai people always say "Phai metta," to spread out loving kindness to all sentient beings, realizing that all sentient beings are born and reborn again and again through this watta samsara, cycle of birth and death repeatedly, so many thousands of years. And we keep on doing this simply because we are not forgiving, simply because we are so full of hatred, so full of greed, so full of delusion. When are we going to break this cycle of birth and rebirth? Unless and until we realize the nature of the root poison, poison, that is lobe, greed, delusion, and hatred. Unless and until we realize the root of these three poisons, only then we can break away from this cyclical birth and death.
Yes, I think it's important what you're saying, because often when I think about forgiveness, I think about, well, in my case, I'm thinking about someone who has harmed me. It's also true that I develop hatred in response to that hurt. I often don't hold myself responsible for that. So I think that's what you're saying. That it's
You know,
both, yeah.
we it is easy to see mistakes, to see faults in other people because we always look outward. You know, Cindy, our eyes cannot see itself.
Mhm.
Physically, our eyes cannot see ourselves. We have to see ourselves only through mirror. We see ourselves only through reflection of the mirror. Isn't that interesting?
Mm,
Yes.
yes, very
But
interesting.
we can see others directly. I can look at you, I
Yes.
can look at Cindy directly. I can criticize Cindy. Oh, Cindy, you do this better, you do that better. That color looks better with you than. But when I look at myself, I cannot look at myself. I have to see only a reflection of myself. See,
Oh,
isn't
wow.
that interesting?
Yeah, very
But
interesting.
to see others' fault and to see my fault, to see others' fault is only a reminder that first of all you have to see your fault in
Hmm.
order
Hmm.
in order to improve ourselves. And so forgiving comes easier when you
Hmm.
realize that. You know, we tend to, you know, you are annoyed about someone, angry with someone, but the reason for getting annoyed, the reason for getting angry with others, look inward, and maybe we have done even worse than what we see in other people. Yeah,
Hmm.
like that, you know. Then this forgiving becomes easier, and it emphasizes looking inward, looking at yourself truthfully, truthfully. Yeah.
Um, the other part of forgiveness, I was reviewing some of our past conversations, which was
Ha.
I was really enjoying, was about how one has to let go of I, me, my in the
Ha.
process of forgiveness. Can you say a little bit about that as well?
Yes. It goes in the same vein that I explained earlier. You know,
Okay.
we see others' faults very easily. To be reminded, that we actually do the same thing also in different
Hmm.
contexts. You know, in different contexts. So look inward, and allow that particular incident to appear in front of our mirror mind, you know, the mind that is seen through mirror, and to experience, to actually feel, to actually be in that present moment, but not as yourself, but as others looking at yourself.
Oh, okay.
Oh, then you can understand the situation better.
Mhm. That is quite remarkable what you're
Ha,
saying.
I- we do many stupid things, you know, and
Right.
and you're not going to forgive yourself. Yes, so we can. What to do if you do not forgive yourself? What are you going to do when it's already past? You
Right.
recognize that that is bad. You
Mhm.
recognize that that is bad, and when you actually see it through this reflection of others' eyes, uh, don't do it again. Don't do it again. So when we see somebody else is at fault, you forgive them and allow them yet another occasion for them to improve.
Thank you,
Ah,
Satu. I think that's those were my questions for tonight. So let me just end this session of Casual Buddhism. Thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you again next week. And it's always a pleasure to speak to you. Thank you, Satu.
sadhu, sadhu.